calling Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. To refuse this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will not be connected. Thank you for using GTL. Hey, John.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with? Hello. How do you spell your last name?
A-M-A-R-Y.
That is a interesting last name. Where's that from? What was that? I know a Hungarian tennis player. Well, yeah, his name. Yeah, I won't say his name on the air, but he's a really good guy, and just so happened to rent his house when I lived in LA. So he was a really good guy. Yeah, man. Well, hey, my wife is here with me, and you want to say hi?
Hi, Ashton. I'm good. How are you? Yeah.
I would imagine. Well, listen, man, we want you to take the floor is yours. You can say hi to anyone you want, share what's on your heart. If we feel led, we'll jump in and ask a question. But honestly, the floor is yours, man.
I'm willing to answer the question.
Well, actually, you know what's kind of interesting is that every story has been completely different, and the things that they're upset, the injustice that they experience. I mean, yeah, some of it's the same, but it's honestly no conversation has been the same, which has been kind of awesome. But if you want to share, so were you a juvenile when you got thrown in civil commitment?
Yes,
How old was your quote unquote victim?
What?
Wait, hold on. Wouldn't that make you the victim?
but it wasn't. I tried to force myself onto her, so I got convicted of an attempted first degree criminal sexual conduct.
Was alcohol and drugs involved?
No.
Okay. So I want to ask you something, because that actually is the first time I've heard that in all of the conversations I've had. Tell me about the place that you were mentally, what was going on in your life, and kind of what fueled that aggression, if you don't mind me saying that.
Okay. Well, at that time I was already on juvenile in treatment at Academy. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's a juvenile facility, and it's a good place to go to. It helps you and stuff. But when I went there, they helped me realize that all the stuff I did was wrong, because when I was offending against the kids, I didn't see it it wasn't seen as a crime. It was just sex to me. But then when I went to treatment and realized what I did was wrong, I had really low self-esteem about myself. I kept calling myself a monster, a pervert, a pedophile. So at that time, so when I was 16, I just had really low self-esteem about myself. I felt like that I was a worthless piece of shit. So they told me all the stories of what happened to go to prison. It, made me feel like I committed like the most heinous thing in the world, like I was the worst person in the world.
Why did you? Can I ask why you felt like it was just sex?
You have 1 minute remaining.
Oh, okay. Call back, man. You're scared to ask how old they are?
Well, when you say kids.
Well, I know. Okay, here's back.
Help. Call for subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hey, Ashton. So I want to get this question out of the way, because you said the person, but when you were 13, the person was 16. But then
No, 16, they were 18.
16 and 18, sorry. And then, but you mentioned something else about, like, you didn't know, you mentioned kids. How old were the kids?
I was 13 at that time. Youngest was, that's when I committed because when I was 16, I was already on juvenile probation.
Right.
And, right. And at 13, between my ages of 11 and 13, some kids, the youngest was 2, the oldest was not.
And were you diagnosed with a mental because you said that you didn't know it was wrong.
No, I did not at that time.
What was were you abused as a kid? I mean, can you just like be like real about where you were coming from? And you have to understand something. Like I was molested as a kid. I've been through this, and you know, we have two young ones that we're very protective over. But I also understand that, you know, I don't believe people are born this way. I believe that things happen to them and they're either groomed to be that way or circumstances or mental illness. Can you just kind of speak openly and kind of share where you were at back then? Like, how did you not know that was wrong?
Right, yeah, I got no problem sharing. I saw my parents have sex when I was 3 years old, so I started mimicking it with other kids at my grandma's daycare. And where as far as sexual abuse, I never was. Not by I was never a kid. An adult never abused me or anything with other kids.
How did you see your parents having sex? Like, how'd that happen?
I woke up and I heard noises. I saw the door open, so I went and investigated. You know, all kids are curious. I investigated, find out what was wrong, and that's when I started mimicking it at my grandma's daycare. And then then when I got older, and I just continued doing that with other kids when I got older. And it's not like they teach you the consent or rape in school or anything. So plus I've heard 20-year-olds dating 40-year-olds. Plus my grandparents on my mom's side were 5 years apart or 8 years apart. Grandparents on my dad's side 5 years apart. So it's like, okay.
That's just why you have to talk to kids about sex.
This is this is true. And listen, I want to make this clear, man. Like, obviously, I don't support what happened. At the same time, like I remember being exposed to sex really young, and being curious myself, and I don't want to, trigger, so I'm going to be very careful with what I say, but like I can understand that. Like there's weird things that happen. You see sex. I remember overhearing my dad cheating on my mom with somebody when I was young and being exposed to sex. And like I was a chemsex addict. I mean, I did some awful things. So I mean, being sexualized that young, yeah, you're gonna mimic your parents, everything. You can't even say fart knocker without your kids going fart knocker because they want to do what you're doing. God. Let me ask you something, and all that you've learned and all the treatment facilities that you've been in and all the programs, what you learned, if you were talking to parents, you are talking to parents all over the world.
Yeah.
Dude, you get to call back, right? Please call back. We got to finish this conversation. All right.
Where's his grandma? Supervising. Where?
I bet this crap is way more common than we even know.
Okay, well.
I'm not condoning it.
I know. So all this crap happens at Brindley School. There's adults everywhere and no one does anything. Where's fucking grandma? Adults suck.
Well, a lot of adults are just oversized babies and oversized.
Yeah,
I was an oversized kid. I know. I shouldn't have been.
So many people that are in the field of childcare in some way or education that should not be.
Is he going to call back? I hope he calls back. I hope we didn't. This is the most. Of course, I've had some really interesting conversations with these guys, but this one. Here we go. Oh, good. He called back.
Subject monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Welcome back. I want to finish my question, and then Jessica has a question. So, of all the things that you've learned in your training, what would you tell parents out there? Because no, I'm not going to back to it. What would you tell parents out there about how they can best teach their kids about sex and also how to avoid situations like what happened? Like, what advice can you give?
I would tell parents that they have sex if they're hard, make sure you lock the door. Don't just close it, but lock it. That way they can't open it. But and as far as
It seems simple enough.
Yeah. And then, as far as teaching them about sex, I don't advise kids to know what sex is or any of that until they start going through puberty, when all those changes, those thoughts come into them, and then that's when you sit down and teach them about safe sex, the STDs, the unwanted pregnancies, the condom.
Right. You 100%. However, I will say if you do not talk about things at all, that's when the bad things can happen because the kids don't know,
Right.
like you didn't know. So what irks me is that there are adults in charge, but they're not protecting. So I don't know what your relationship's like with your grandma, but where was she?
She was upstairs. We were down all the basement. Down in the basement is where we had all the toys and stuff at her daycare.
So she wasn't watching you guys?
No.
Okay, well,
No,
that's a
she,
problem.
Right. He did that oh, if it's a doctor again, that's all I got from him.
And then she would leave you downstairs still after?
Yeah, after the talk.
Kicks me off.
Well, and yeah, and once you're at that age and you've had your genitals stimulated, that you just want to keep stimulating them any way you can. And that's even pre-puberty. Because once you feel that, like being molested the first time, it hurt, but it also felt good. That's a mind F. Like it's a mind F to experience that. And so then, oh my,
They enjoyed it or something, or they thought it was wrong that, yeah, it hurt, but it felt good at the same time. And I know some people were shameful about that.
It's like a drug addict. Like they know it's bad for them, but like it's an addiction. Ultimately, like if you don't have the mental capacity to or strength to stop yourself, then you're in trouble. And if no grown-up is around to protect you and teach you, then you're in real big trouble.
so let me ask you this. I don't know if you can answer this. I don't even know if you could answer it honestly. I don't even know if it's possible. But was it, when that happened, was it that you were attracted to, or was it just like one of those curious things that my penis does this, so I wonder what happens when I do that? Like, you know how people, when you're young, you're exploring, trying to figure things out because no one actually has like a real honest conversation with you about sex. It's always something weird, or they throw you a Playboy and go, those are boobs, or like whatever it may be. Was it attraction, or was it curiosity and like, what does this thing do?
Talk about when I was a kid myself? Or
Yes, yeah.
More like curiosity, because I didn't know what it was or what I was doing. I just know, oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
I continue to do it.
Wow. It is.
That's you being a victim. Just so you know, you were in a childcare setting and nobody was protecting you. You are a victim.
You
I
don't
never
want to
thought
teach
of it
you.
that way.
Yeah, you are.
We just look, because of, and I'm not trying to get on my high horse here, but religion has made people so awkward around the subject of sex that no one can have, or not no one, I don't want to overgeneralize.
Everybody's scared to talk about it really.
But it's like, it's a very, the majority is they're really bad about having honest conversations about sex. It's because it's either thrown in your face aggressively, which that's not honest either. That's an agenda, or that's like some hyper sex thing that's not based in reality. Or you have this, well, I kind of want my, like you can stick your finger in my butt. And like, we just like dance around subjects instead of just having an honest conversation about it. No wonder everyone's so confused and doesn't know what gender they are. They want to identify as a turtle. Oh, I saw one person that was attracted to airplanes today. It's getting insane, but it all comes down to not having honest conversations about sex. And because we can't have honest conversations about sex, we don't have them with kids even more so. And when we try to talk to them about sex, it's even more awkward than the adults that should be talking to us about sex in the appropriate way. And so now we have all these freaking weirdos on social media grooming people which is far more dangerous than just sitting down and having an honest conversation with your children about what is going on. But at the same time, how do you even do that? Like, because we're not even educated to do
Well,
that.
I mean, I am.
You are, because that's what you do.
I have told the girl what it is very scientifically and frankly, and I've also told them what can happen if they do not protect their body and keep it to themselves, and that there is bad out there and all yada yada.
Thank God you did that.
Yeah, thank God.
Who is this? Some hey, oh, there's another. I guess you guys aren't sitting at the same payphone. Someone else is calling. Do you know who that is? Well, can you just tell him when you get off so we can keep talking?
Yeah, we're on
Oh, my bad, dude. I just I didn't want to hang up. Yeah, I didn't want to hang up on you. Okay. So how are you doing now? Like, how do you feel?
I feel not about myself or the situation I'm in, or
Ah, just in general.
What's your heart?
How's your heart?
away from my family, way past my sense. I'm 31 right now. I feel a lot of resentment towards the legal system. I don't feel angry or sad about myself anymore. I don't see myself as a monster. I see myself as a human being who did a bad thing.
Have you? So I would have. So how long have you been locked up?
What would you do with yourself if you were out tomorrow?
Well, I would move in with my sister and mom, and then and look for a job and save up for my own apartment, our own place.
But what would your dream be? Like, what's the big thing you would do with your life if it weren't sitting
If you could do anything.
walls?
I really don't know. The only thing I'm more worried about is living my life when I get out. Focus on all the stuff that I missed out on. I missed going bowling. Whereas don't have any major stuff planned. I just know, like, the first year I'm out, it's more focused on adjusting to society.
Yeah, because it's been a while, and the world's a lot different now. Have you felt like your age, not like Benjamin Button, where age is in reverse, but do you feel like time has stopped for you, or do you feel like time is still moving forward?
I feel like it's not. There are times where I believe that I'm still 16 because I felt like when I was out there.
Did they give you any sort of education?
Well, I got my high school diploma when I was in prison. So yeah, I wouldn't need any high school stuff, but college, yeah.
College is overrated.
So you're like a 30-year-old. It's stuck in high school still.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know how the internet works.
Well, you're lucky there.
Yeah, it's probably saving your soul.
Yeah.
So, what is your to keep hope alive for you?
Honestly, this lawsuit. If it wasn't for this lawsuit, I wouldn't have any hope at all.
Really?
Yeah, because before 2011, no one was getting out at all, and then all of a sudden we filed this lawsuit. Now all of a sudden they want to put more people for CPS provisional.
I have oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because this place.
Right. Yeah, but I don't, they've made plans, but more of what they're doing is getting exposed. The malpractice, just not giving you guys proper health care, the not having a clear path home, the games, the psychological warfare that they play on you all. And yeah, it's unbelievable how much this actually affects people that are out, outside of those walls. It affects those people and they don't even know. Like, I don't even think they know what they pay taxes to half the time.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even think about that.
No, yeah. They're being held.
And we're contributing.
Everyone's contributing to it. And it goes deep. It's deep. So I got to ask you something. So do you have any flashbacks of what happened when you were young, when you got in trouble? Do you have flashback memories, or are those pretty much gone?
Pretty much gone.
That's good. I would imagine that would be nightmares. How when the staff, I don't know if I'm going too far when I say this, but I know that staff has interacted sexually with some of the inmates, and I'm calling you guys inmates because that is not a hospital and you're not patients or you'd be treated as such. So when that kind of stuff happens, when you know of the guards and some of the staff sleeping with the residents there, having sex with the residents, how does that affect the rest of the group?
And on top of that, if that stuff happens, this place doesn't talk about it. But if a client event, they'll talk about it.
Public school system again.
It's like the public school system.
Ah,
Holy crap.
wow.
Wow. So what do you do all day to, I know that they have therapy and they have therapy in quotes. Like tell me, like, what is your day like?
Watch a little bit of television, walk, play some night, go to the gym.
Oh, you have a gym?
Yeah, we have a gym.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it would
No, it
better
is.
than nothing. I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. So that's the worst part about it.
Worst part of being here.
Yeah.
Waking up every day and just seeing prison. You have the same stainless steel toilets, stainless steel seats, beds, things, everything. It's all prison.
How?
Have you ever seen a TV show called?
No.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That's where the jail gets a group of people who go to prison undercover to find where all the drugs. And a lot of the participants said, one of the participants said the environment gets you, makes you aggressive. I agree with that.
What's therapy like?
We were having 2 groups in the module, but now they closed that. Or they closed the modules, but now we just got 2 groups for 2 hours apiece. And so far, whenever I go to a group, it's more complaint than anything else. Not to mention, lots of clients dread it. A lot of things up over and over.
Yeah, I've heard about that game. Do you want to say hi to anyone before you get cut off?
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know the offense that I committed, the offense that I say is wrong. I take full responsibility for it. I don't blame anyone for my actions. I did deserve the prison time, but I did not deserve this penalty.
Thank you for using GTL.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. It takes a lot of strength to admit to what he's admitting to. And it takes a lot of knowing that you're in the right with the stand you're taking to be able to take the stand and admit to something like what he admitted to. So, yeah.
Well, I remember, this is going to sound so awful, but I mean, I would feel wrong for not saying it. But I remember like being a 4 or 5-year-old kid seeing my mom's boobs because, and I already knew to like them. I mean, it was like boobs, and I'm 43 and I get excited. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have any education or training in why that was sexually stimulating to me. I have no idea.